All right, chip of the day. Everybody likes chip of the day. So we have an ACS712 by Allegro. Can you see that? Whoops, not on camera there, Allegro. So what is this thing? Well, you hook it up like this, and you put a current through it, and it has Hall effect sensors, and it measures the current, and then it outputs it as a voltage. So you just hook up 5 volts and ground, and you get a voltage out proportional to the current that goes through this thing. Now, it can be an AC current, it can be a DC current, it could be plus current, minus current, doesn't matter. It can go back and forth. So, yeah, looks pretty cool. Let's see here, and it's got 1.2 kilovolts of isolation, which is really nice, right? It says it's a Hall effect, it doesn't have to touch. And so there's some built-in insulators and stuff in this thing so that isolation between the input and the output, so you could hook up to mains and stuff, and you're not gonna get zapped. So it says here total output error 1.5%, 80 kilohertz bandwidth, so you can watch when you run AC through it. You can watch it, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. So they come in different. Zoom back out. They come in different versions. There's a -5, a -20, and a -30. So 5 amps, 20 amps, 30 amps. I have the 5 amp ones. Mine come with these little. I bought these a couple years ago and then never used them. But they have a little board and everything. You can get these super cheap on eBay or Alibaba or whatever. So the little chip's there, and then it's just got some connectors on it. So we can hook one of these things up. Yeah, let's give it a try. So I just have it hooked up here with a bunch of connectors, test leads and stuff, and we'll look at the voltage out here. Let's see, DC volts. There we go. We have 2.56 volts coming out with no current. So remember I said it's plus and minus current. So if it has 0 current, it's somewhere between the rails. And let me change the voltage on this part. Oh, it does change. It does change. So you have to worry a bit about that. But let's put it right here exactly at 5 volts. We have 2.57 volts coming out. And then let me put in some current. So I'm applying, let's see, that's too much. Let me put in 1 amp. Okay, so I'm supplying 1 amp to the part. We're getting 2.7. So you're saying, well, is that right? Is that wrong? So let's turn this off. I'm going to hit the null button, so we'll do a relative measurement. So now it's measuring 0. When I turn it off, we get 135 millivolts. All right, let's go to millivolts. Overloaded, sorry. I'm gonna go back. So off, we will null it, turn it back on. So we get 135 millivolts. Let me swap the leads over here, and we get minus 135, so plus and minus. Okay, that works great. And let me double it. We should get 270 millivolts if we have 2 amps. So let me do that. 2 amps, 270. There we go. So it's working great. Except, and this is a big except. So I want you guys to comment below, see if you have similar experience. Let's look at the data sheet again. All right, so this is for the 05 part, which I have. And it's a sensitivity. So it should output some amount of millivolts per amp. And it says 185, and we're measuring 135. So, am I reading the data sheet wrong? Are the parts out of spec? Are the parts clones? Are the parts a bunch of rejects that China just put into boards? I don't know. I really don't know. Seems like a fancy part to clone, so I can only imagine maybe they're out of spec parts, but they seem to be linear, right? We went from one amp to 2 amps, and they tracked linearly. So I mean, it's certainly usable. You can just calibrate it, but this says it's something, and the front page says accuracy of 1.5%. Well, what does that mean? Is that just 1.5% linearity and not absolute millivolts per amp? I don't know. The data sheet's quite confusing. So yeah, there you go. It's a funny little part. Let's look at the diagram again. And here's the part. So the part has 2 capacitors, 1, 2, has a resistor and an LED, which just says power is on, and then an output. So I don't know. Not much to go wrong. So anyway, that was it. That was the chip of the day, an ACS712. Actually a cool little part. I mean, like I said, you know, AC or DC, and very simple to hook up. You can run it into some type of microcontroller, just run it into the A to D port and digitize it. And yeah, I like it.